Do you know that feeling when someone says one thing and it completely ruins your whole day? You spend the rest of your time stressed about it, and it just keeps playing over and over in your head. I mean, who hasn't been there, right? Hey, I'm Dan. And what if I told you that feeling only lasts 90 seconds? That's right, 90 seconds, unless you keep feeding it. The truth is, anger is a choice. Yeah, you choose to stay annoyed for the rest of your day over something that probably doesn't even deserve that much weight. Neurologically, the stress hormones that create anger are naturally flushed out of your body in about 90 seconds. But here's the problem. We take those 90 seconds and turn them into hours or days. And if you're the type of person who holds grudges, replaying that story from 10 years ago when your math teacher embarrassed you in front of the whole class for absolutely no reason. It's like getting a small cut, and instead of letting it heal, you keep picking at it all day, until it turns into a huge scar just so you can keep reliving those old moments of stress and embarrassment. Whenever someone treats you badly, your body fills up with stress hormones. That's the 90 seconds. But then, you start creating the story. Who do they think they are talking to me like that? Oh no, this is not gonna slide. And suddenly, you're still mad 20 minutes later. Maybe 20 hours later. When you understand this 90-second rule, you realize something important. There's a choice. You can let those stress hormones fade away naturally, or you can keep walking around with that big mad face all day. There are people you look at and think they're a monk or that they just don't have feelings. Because they always seem calm. Way too calm, no matter what happens. And the only reason they're like that is because they know something you're about to learn right now. First, the point of choice. There's a very well-known idea in psychology, often attributed to Viktor Frankl, that says, between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies our power to choose. And in that space, that's where our freedom is. Most people don't even realize that space exists. If every time it happens, you react with B, then you're not free, you're a slave to your own emotions. If this idea comes from Viktor Frankl, a man who survived Nazi concentration camps, then really think about it. If he was able to choose how to respond in the worst situation imaginable, what's stopping you from doing the same? We're used to this pattern. Trigger happens, body reacts. But in reality, before the reaction, there's a micro-choice. Imagine you receive a slightly aggressive message. Your natural impulse is to reply immediately with the same energy. But before you respond, ask yourself, am I gonna regret this in an hour? Would I respond differently if I were calmer? Am I actually solving anything by reacting like this? That is the point of choice, literally, a superpower. Second, the observer technique. What if you could observe your emotions without being controlled by them? That's exactly what this technique does. There's a huge difference between feeling anger and being anger. For example, someone cuts you off in traffic. Instead of reacting automatically, you do something different. You observe. Look at that. I'm starting to feel angry. And that's it. No explosion, no arguing, no feeding the stress. By doing this, you start seeing the emotion from a third-person perspective, like it's not even you. And most of the time, you realize it doesn't even make sense to stay mad about what happened. And the feeling just fades away. This way, you can feel any emotion without being controlled by it. Third, redefine the meaning. You know those people you consider difficult, the ones who always manage to stress you out, take you out of your peaceful state just by existing? It could be a family member, a boss, anyone. You probably see them as a problem. But what if I told you this could actually be an advantage? To build muscle, you need to lift more weight than what's comfortable, right? So, in the same way, you can see these people as personal trainers. For your brain's annoyance tolerance. You can use them to train your mind. Your boss criticizes you all the time. Resilience training. Your neighbor has zero manners. Boundary training. You made it this far and still didn't like or subscribe. Yeah, that's not training, that's just wild. Suddenly, I hate everyone and everything. Turns into, I'm training my ability to stay calm. You stop being the victim and start becoming the student. Fourth, learn to wait. You're not magically going to stop getting irritated just because you decided to. So the best thing you can do in the beginning is to step back strategically. For example, I'm not in a good place right now. Let's talk about this later. 90% of emotional intelligence is this. Being able to not act on impulse. And wait a little before making any important decision. 5 minutes of space can save you weeks of headaches. Remember those people who always seem calm? They weren't born like that. They trained themselves to be that way, and now you have the blueprint too. Think about how much better your life can get when no one except you has control over your pace. That's 100% worth it. If this helped you, drop a comment and I'll see you in the next video.